Hello everyone and welcome to another video on Forza Horizon 6. Today, my top 3 contenders for Forza Horizon 6's location. But let's start with the elephant in the room by getting rid of it. No, it's not going to be Japan. If you're interested why I say it isn't, consider checking out yesterday's video on the subject after you've finished watching this one. I'm going to look so stupid if it ends up being Japan. With that out of the way, let's start counting down my top 3 contenders, starting with the most commonly suggested. Nice scenery, fun climate, although now that I think about it, Forza Horizon 4's snow did make the game highly obnoxious to play for 1 week a month, within travelling budget for the dev team and widely suggested by the community. Norway and its neighbours are an obvious place to set the next Forza Horizon. Not only because of the roads and scenery, but because of the motoring and motorsport pedigree and history associated with Scandinavian countries. Try to not name a racing driver from a Scandinavian country. I bet you've already failed. Speaking of failing, don't fail to subscribe for Forza Future Horizon 6 content, as well as other fun things. A weaker reason to expect FH6 to be up there is that if we analyse the patterns of Horizon game locations, Horizon 6 would have to be in Europe, as the devs seem to be playing a sort of ping-pong game where one player is Europe and the other is another continent. I'll be honest, I give Horizon 6 a 50% chance of being set in a Scandinavian country, probably Norway, but if you think about it, everything in life has a 50% chance of happening. Either does or it doesn't. Number 2 on my list is a country whose choice would be absolutely huge for Forza, and in particular Microsoft. Let's not forget, Microsoft's in charge and they know what they're doing, although sometimes I do find that hard to believe. India's GDP as a rule is going up like mad and is predicted to go absolutely mental in the next few years. The amount of people in India with an internet connection is estimated to be over 1 billion people by the end of this year. Add to that the fact that people are inherently drawn to things their country is involved in: football, politically corrupt singing competitions, and video games. Now imagine if 0.1% of India's internet-owning population wanted to play a game based in their country. That's 1.5 million people. That's 1/20th of Forza Horizon 5's players just because they set it in a certain country. On a more subjective level, India is a fascinating country with some very pretty scenery, and I'd love to have a driving game set there. From a car and motorsport history, there's not much to say other than it's home to Tata and therefore Jaguar Land Rover. But Mexico doesn't have much either, let's be honest. Actually, I've just had a brilliant idea. Tuk-tuk racing. Let's do it. Last but not least, but probably least likely on my list of predictions, is South Africa. I can't really explain, I just have this feeling that it will be. No Forza game has been set on the African continent, so maybe it's time. And South Africa just seems like a logical place to put it. It's an English-speaking country, so the devs will have an easier time of it. It's a country I believe that most of Forza's audience would be able to identify with if placed there in a game. And there's also a lot of variety to the scenery. To be clear, people who've been there have told me that driving is rather boring actually. So basically the scenery is picturesque, but it's extremely repetitive. So if you drive for a long time, the roads are nice, but the views don't change that much. Well, it's definitely not going to be set there if that's the case, you may be thinking to yourself. I say no. In Forza Horizon 5 you can drive from the west coast of Mexico to the east coast in under 5 minutes. It's not to scale, it's a game. There is variety. It just takes a while to get to it. But not in a game. Also, there's a lot of interesting flora and, more importantly, fauna. Imagine driving your Ferrari at night and suddenly 100 elephants start crossing the road being chased by a pride of lions. How cool would that be? Oh wow, that would actually have got a really good idea. Or if you could drag race a cheetah. Well, on that note, that was my list for the 3 most likely settings for Forza Horizon 6. Now I want to hear your predictions and wishes in the comments down below. These discussions are always highly interesting. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do consider liking and or subscribing, as well as checking out yesterday's video on why Forza Horizon 6 won't be set in Japan if you haven't already. Finally, have a nice day, and I hope to see you again soon in another video. Bye!